Hello friends and welcome to the Boardgames family. Today we have something super special prepared for you. We were able to talk to one of the aspiring promises of the Danish board game scene, Plotmaker Games, creator of the new Tivoli game and Combo Fighter and a few others. We visited their studio in Copenhagen and we talked to one of their co-founders, Asger. Enjoy!
It was very, very crazy. Yes. So, okay, a short version is I worked in an advertising agency doing concept work for Lego, and Snorre was also doing he was doing storyboards for some Lego movies. So we were kind of the same circles. And Snorre wanted to do a graphic novel, and he invited me out for coffee. And I said, can we do a board game instead? It's kind of a graphic novel, but let's do a board game. And then we started working on that game, London Dread. Mm-hmm. And it was at a time where, should we continue working in advertising or should we do something else? And then one day I found myself with 4 dice in that agency. They were just, still don't know where those dice came from. They were just 4 big, yellow, beautiful dice. And I said, okay, roll 4 6s, I start a board game company. And it was just one roll and 4 6s. And people were like, okay, then let's do it. Maybe we kind of always knew, that sounds a little corny, but maybe it was something that we always knew, but still it's something that is constantly a back and forth. It's a movement of, yes, we're going to do this, and okay, this is crazy. Yes, we're going to do this. So it's a constant movement of we're doing this too. Are we really doing this? But deep down, we know we are doing this. So. Yeah, now there are quite a few Danish designers and games coming from Denmark, but not a lot of publishers, that's true. But I think I consider ourselves more of a studio than a publisher. We are publishing our own games, but it's the games that we make. And okay, maybe that is actually changing. We're currently looking at a game that we did not design, that we might want to publish. Mm-hmm. But that will probably be a sub-brand of Plotmaker Games. So the idea of Plotmaker Games is that's really the games that we want to create. Yeah. And then we have an idea because we have so many other small games just in the drawer. Games that we play here every Friday, and games that are actually cool games, but it's just they don't really fit the Plotmaker Games brand.
True.
That would be the first game we made. Yeah, London Dread. It's that had everything Plotmaker Games, but at that time we were not so good at making games. So it had the characters, it had the feel, it had the story, it had some, I think, pretty cool game mechanics. But at the time, there were so many things we didn't know. We didn't know how to structure game components properly, and iconography and user interface, and making helping the players through the experience. And so it was. I think it was a diamond in the rough, but it was. There were many things that we simply didn't know how to do. So, I love the game and I love the game world, but we can do much better games now, and down the road we will do that game again. But I have promised certain people not to promise other people when that day is, because we want to do it the right way, and. So it will take some time. We thought it was going to release earlier, but now we have focused on another project that is very important to us, called Living Stories, which is just with the amount of time we have available, we can do more with living stories and focusing on London Dread right away. But hopefully this will be what will kick off London Dread, or what will make London Dread available. So in Play Circle we make games for companies and organizations. So every game here is a tailor-made game. There is a specific problem or something that the company or the organization wants to reflect on, and we use games to facilitate that. And that has also, that journey has taught us so much that we can use in Plotmaker Games, because this is, over here in Play Circle we make games for essentially non-gamers, or for people who are not usually playing games. So it has to be very intuitive and has to be really something that is easily accessible, and it dives right into the experience. So, and that has influenced the way we think about games in Plotmaker Games. And I think Living Stories, our new game, is a great example of that, where ideally we want the rules to disappear and just have the experience be what the people engage with. And of course the rules are always going to be that gateway or that link, or that's something which makes that experience happen. But you can either have very explicit rules, or you can have rules that are more supporting the experience. And I think we learned a lot from that other company doing that. It was a Play Circle game we made for Tivoli about something completely different for their school service. So it's a game about the Sustainable Development Goals. And then working with Tivoli, someone floated the idea that we should make a Tivoli board game. So, and then we presented the idea for this Tivoli board game, and they liked it. So this is a game made, it's licensed by Tivoli, so we made it in collaboration with Tivoli. And it's a game that tries to capture the essence of going to Tivoli. So it's how much fun can you have before the clock strikes midnight and everything closes down. So it's trying to take the kids' perspective of being in Tivoli. There are all these fun things that you can do, and you run around the gardens and you hop on this ride and you buy an ice cream, and all of a sudden you have to go home. And whoever had the most fun wins. It was a really fun challenge, because it's coming from London Dread and so it's not a heavy Plotmaker Games. I mean, there's a little bit of story, but it's more it's the experience, it's the feeling. We wanted to capture the feeling of going to Tivoli Gardens. So we went through many ideas and iterations, but one of the ideas that stuck was, when you go to Tivoli, it grows darker, and then all these lights, all these beautiful lights appear. So we wanted that in the game. So when you play the game, every time you hop on a ride or you try something in the gardens, you place your little lamp or lantern there. So as you play, more and more lights will actually pop up on the board, which is totally the experience that you will have in the real Tivoli. And also that when you go there, you have all the time in the world. And then all of a sudden you realize, okay, we have to leave soon. So that was also one of the things we wanted to recreate. And in the game there's this mechanic where at times, in a way, speeds up. So you have all the time in the world, and then all of a sudden, it's soon over. Tivoli was just such a special opportunity. So we could not turn that down. It was just too exciting to not do it. But it's probably not the kind of game that we will do more of inside Plotmaker Games, because it is really I think at the edge of what Plotmaker Games is. I mean, we have the characters, we have the story in there, but it's not a deep storytelling game like London Dread. So probably it will not be more games like this going forward with Plotmaker Games. But then we have the sub-brand I talked about where it would be a better fit. It's always fun to see people who have been to Tivoli play the game, because I think you see the connection. And for people, yeah, and then what fun reactions? Let me think about that. I mean, there are a couple of fun reactions ranging from the gameplay moments. We're always trying to create, exciting moments in a game where if people either they high five or they go the exciting things that happen. So a small thing in the game, if you roll 3 tickets and you're right next to one of the big rides, you can't help but go, whoa! You can't just roll 3 tickets and be all cool. It's not possible. You'll have to go, yes! Okay, yeah, but here in Essen, it was nice. We had, families coming to us and telling us that they have played this. They bought the game last year in Essen and they have played so many times and they just wanted to come back and say, thank you for a great game. That is, of course, amazing when that happens. We have a good a guy we know from the gaming industry. He was actually working with the first publisher of London Dread, and he has now moved to Albania. And we gave him a copy of the game, and he uses the game. He told me this as the one gateway game. So when he has visitors coming to visit them, they play the Tivoli game because he's been to the real Tivoli, and it's a really nice, accessible game. Yes, a lot. But I would say, I think my experience with storytelling comes earlier than my Lego work. So that was a combination of playing. I've always played games, and I've always played many role-playing games. So I grew up in the countryside. So, and where I grew up, it was either you were into like tractors and engines, or not. And I was not into tractors and engines, so I found role-playing games and I created all these worlds as a kid. So that's what I've been doing all my life. And then I studied literature, comparative literature, and there I gained some more theoretical tools. So the combination of a passion for storytelling and some theory about writing plots and stuff, that's what got me into working with Lego. And then it's the same thing I continue here. So, but of course, working with Lego, that taught me many things. I mean, there were so many cool concepts and projects and stories and scripts and whatnot that I've been working on, and so that has obviously also helped. What do you call like educate me or find my voice or direction or specific way of doing things. Yes, that's where Snor and I click very easily. It's just we always begin with the story and the experience of, okay, we want to create. We have an idea for the story, and then the game just becomes the way of telling that story, and now we have Emilia on board as well. So we have a process that is it begins with the story, and then quickly comes the prototype. Like almost immediately after the first story comes a rough prototype, and that then becomes what do we call that? The object that we keep polishing until it matches the story. I don't know. That's just I don't know. That is not the problem. I mean, it's not. it's sometimes the problem is choosing. For example, for this living stories, we're bringing out the games, or we bring out the game in waves, and each wave has 3 different titles, and choosing those titles is very difficult because there's so many to choose from. So do we go with the Western one, or the zombie one, or the office one, or the whatever? So choosing is sometimes difficult. When we started out, it was just pure passion. Okay, let's do this because we want to do this. But now we have also started thinking about the consumer. Okay, is this something that people want, or is it because it's fun to make stuff, but it's also make stuff that people will actually buy. Yeah, like I said, we play the game very early on. If so, we often actually the first time we play a game is often just imagining it. Like, okay, we have this idea for a game. Could that be? I play a card, and okay, now you play a card, and what would happen if that? Would it be cool if my card did this? And then maybe we have some paper, we have some bits we can use. It's just to get the first idea of, okay, is this fun or not? And then it becomes more and more elaborate. But it's so it's constantly trying to ask the game, is it true to that story we want to tell, or is it not true to that story? So right now in Living Stories, we're making the first game is called Dust Devils. It's about a Western tragedy. So it has to have that gritty Western feel of gunslinging and betrayal, and it has to be this pretty dark and gritty place. So the game has to convey that feeling. So if you don't feel that you are a bank robber in New Mexico in 1865, then the game is not doing what it should do. I don't think there is a right way to do it. I think the way we make games is actually very different from how many designers make games. I think most designers in Essen and other places, they deliver a game with a fully functional game with components, and then whatever the theme is. I mean, I don't think so. I think most designers start with mechanics, and then theme is added onto those mechanics. I think, but we can't work that way. So we always start with the story and the experience, and then the rules have to support that story and experience. Like I said before, I think it's almost if the rules disappear, then I'm happier. I like playing games that are designed the other way. So I play all kinds of games. I like those games. I just can't design that way. I don't know how to do it that way. I cannot see a mechanic and not think about what the story is. It always has to. It always begins with the character and the feeling of those characters in whatever world they are, and then the rules will have to support that. After playing so many games, there's so many mechanics floating around in the conscious and subconscious. So obviously I steal and all those mechanics. I use them, draw from those mechanics all the time. But that's also I play many games, so I have a big toolbox of different mechanics. So if I know what the story is and I want to support the story, I can take from all those different mechanics. So I'm not trying to come up with a new clever mechanic necessarily. Some designers, they come up with a new clever mechanic that is just like when worker placement was first discovered, or deck building, or a mechanic that is just such a cool mechanic that you can make 1 million games just on that single mechanic. We don't design like that. We design with this from the story and the experience, and then we will take whatever mechanic will help tell that story. it feels like okay, now it's like I have a million worlds that I need to, get out there, and it's a constant pressure that they just want to come out. So so I feel like I'm yeah. So every time there's one world that comes out, then there are three more shouting, "Hey, we want to come out too." I sincerely hope that we can build a real studio. I mean, I feel we have a real studio, but we need more people. So me marketing, that's a role that we have not filled. We are 3 people here, and then we have 2 part-timers or freelancers that help us. But it would be nice to be able to focus completely on creating games, and then have other people who are better at other stuff doing those things. So in 5 or 10 years, I hope we have a fully functional studio that can bring great games to the world. I mean, I already have the artist, so but it would be cool to make a game with. Personally, I would like to work with. I would like to meet Vlada Schwartel. I think we make very different games, but yeah, it'd be nice to work with him one day. Plotmaker Games is we're really getting to the core of the games I think we are meant to make. So those are about building worlds, creating characters that you can be and explore those worlds. That is Plotmaker Games. There's one game I would like to make. I'm not sure I will ever make that game, but I've thought about it a lot. That's a game about human thoughts and philosophy from ancient times to now. So these changing currents of thoughts and different ideologies changing over time. I think that would be a very cool game. At least it's a fun game to think about. And then I would like to make a living card game one day. Don't know if that will happen either. And then I would also like to make a game from my gaming group. I would like to make a game that they would actually like. Normally the games I make they don't like, because they play with them I play more like heavy strategy games. So it would be fun to make a heavy strategy game once. Yes, the Tivoli game, my kids, I have a son who's 5 and a daughter who's 7, and they like it. The 5-year-old is a little too young, but my daughter really likes the game, so she was also a good test person for this game. So everything is destiny. But yes, it very much felt like that. It was yes. I was saying thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, and we're looking forward to your comments. Bye bye.